Hello everybody and welcome to another video about Once Human. Today, we're going to talk about how to choose the best location to build your house in. Now, building is an integral part of Once Human. It's a big part of the game, and in fact, for a lot of people, the end game is actually just having the nicest house possible in the best location possible. Now, I can't tell you what your house should look like or even what a good looking house would be because that's entirely subjective, but I can tell you what I think you should consider when choosing a location to build your dream house in the world of Once Human. So let's get into it. Now, in my opinion, there are four main factors to consider when you're choosing the location to build your house in. I'm going to list out these factors in no particular order, so this is not in order of most important to least important or least important to most important. These are all equally important to me, but may not be equally important to you depending on what you value the most. Regardless though, I still think that these are the most important four factors to consider, so do keep them in mind when you're choosing your location. I'll also be talking about these again when we talk about my favorite locations later on. The first factor is the view. How pretty does your location look? This actually to me is kind of the most important thing because I want to be in a place where I can have a balcony or a viewing area or even just an outdoor area where the view just looks stunning. And trust me, in this game, there are a lot of opportunities for you to get that because this game is actually really pretty. And even if right now you think, okay, I don't really care about the view, I just care about functionality, I guarantee that later on when you're in your house a lot, you're gonna wish that you had a great view. And since there's no shortage of it, it's not even that hard to get. So do try to select a place with a good view because it does actually go a pretty long way. The next factor to consider is the amount of space available. Now in Once Human, since every player has a house, they also have their own territory. And your territory isn't really allowed to overlap with other players' territory or existing structures like roads. So you want to pick a place that doesn't have too many players, nor do you want to pick a place that's crowded by a lot of in-game structures. The biggest reason for this is that you start off with a pretty small territory and later on you can expand that territory using several in-game resources to get more space for your farming, for your mining, for whatever else you want to do. And if you pick a place that's already crowded with a lot of either players or in-game structures around you, you're not going to be able to expand that territory. The other thing, of course, is that when it's really crowded, it becomes really hard to navigate, especially if you have a bigger vehicle and things like that. So you want to pick a place that's relatively uncrowded to build your house. The third thing to consider is the convenience of the location. Are there usable roads or teleporters nearby? Because if you live kind of out in the middle of nowhere, it's going to take you a long time to get anywhere else to do quests, to gather resources, to do basically anything else that you want to do with this game. Now the teleporter network is extensive, but driving to a teleporter to even get access to it gets pretty annoying pretty fast if you live kind of far from one. So you want to live in a location that's reasonably close, within maybe a minute of driving to a teleporter so you have access to that fast teleporter network. Now I can already hear you saying, but Cats, I'm a very patient person. I don't mind driving to a teleporter every now and then. Believe me, when you've had to do that dozens of times, it's going to get old really fast. So do try to make sure that you have a teleporter nearby to get access to the rest of the world. The final factor to consider are the resources available at the location. Now this isn't as important because you can teleport to areas with the resource you want to farm and you can go and farm and then come back, but it does make your life a little bit easier if you have endgame resources like tungsten or gold or even areas that drop the higher tier materials. However, there are a few things that come into play when you're thinking about resources. The first is the deviant, the Digby Boy. The Digby Boy is a deviant that you can have in your house and it'll basically go out and collect ores for you passively. The ores that this deviant collects depends on what's available inside your territory. So if you're in an area with only low level ores, the Digby Boy will only collect low level ores and you'll miss out on a lot of free high level ores. The other thing is the mining platform, which is a structure that you can build using a build menu, which also serves to gather ores over time. The mining platform as well only works on ores available in the territory that it's built in. So again, if you're in a low tier resource area, you're gonna miss out on those high tier ores. The final thing is the hydraulic generator. Now this isn't so much a resource thing as it is an environment thing because the hydraulic generator is basically a very good power source that depends on flowing water being nearby. So if you're building on the edge of a river, you'll have access to the hydraulic generator, and if you don't have an access to a water source, you will not have the ability to use the hydraulic generator. So these three things, the Digby Boy, the mining platform, and the hydraulic generator, are the most important things to consider when you're thinking about whether resources are available in the location that you've selected. So those are the main four factors that I would consider, and I do recommend you consider when you're choosing a location to build your house. So we've gotten the theory out of the way. How about we put that into practice a little bit? So here are my favorite locations in Once Human to build houses. The first location I want to talk about is right here in the Chalk Peak region in the coordinates of -53 and -4894. This is an absolutely gorgeous area with a stunning view of a river going between a valley and a mountain at the very end. Especially during the morning and the evening when the sun's rising and setting, this place is completely aglow with the sun's light and it is beautiful. Now you can build your house right here up on this cliff if you want a better view, or down there by the riverside if you want access to those hydraulic generators. This location is super close to a teleporter. In fact, you can see it right there as it loads into view, and it comes with ores up to aluminum and silver, which makes it a really nice and convenient place to put your house down. The next location I quite like is also in Chalk Peak, but this time it's quite a bit further south. This is located around the coordinates of 2300, -7039, and it is at the edge of a couple of salt flats. Now you can build your house around here or around here, but of course if you build it here, you are much closer to this teleportation tower. In fact, you're so close that you can actually just see it right there. This place is also unbelievably beautiful. You've got a great view of that arched bridge there, as well as a view towards the south here, so you can see sunrises and sunsets on the west, which bathe this entire area in a very beautiful golden light. This area has ore nodes up to aluminum and silver as well, so you don't really have to worry about resources besides things like tungsten and gold. The other good thing about this place is that this is actually salt water, which means that you pretty much have access to infinite salt for your cooking and whatever else you may want. You also have these shell rocks, which when you dig, give you shellfish, which are also very nice to have. Now, as I said before, you can also build your house on this side of this cliff here so that you have this other salt lake, which is also a very beautiful location. But another suggestion is to build your house up on these cliffs here. And the view from up here is quite stunning, as you can see here, especially again during those sunrises and sunsets. Of course, you are a bit further away from that teleporter tower, and so it is a lot less convenient than living right next to it. But in exchange, you get this incredible view of the bay, as well as a beautiful yellow wind chime forest right behind you. The final location I want to talk about is right here in the Red Sands area, around the coordinates of 3657 and -2310. Now this is in a pretty high level area. This is level 43. It is the second highest level area in the entire game. So you do want to make sure that you're adequately leveled if you do decide to build your home here. Now this location offers unbelievably beautiful views of the desert here. It is absolutely gorgeous, especially again, sunsets, sunrises are unbelievable. In the distance, you can see some snow-capped mountains as well. So really, it is an absolutely beautiful area. Now, there's no river nearby for any hydraulic generators, obviously, because we're in the desert. But a big benefit of this location is that you actually get all the ores in the game available to you right at your doorstep. This includes tungsten, which you can see up ahead here, as well as gold, which is a fantastic source of energy links. Now, another slight downside is that the teleportation tower is a little further away than the other locations, but it's not too bad and you can get there if you're driving in about 1.5 minutes at most, and less than a minute if you have a slightly better vehicle. So there you have it. Those are my favorite locations to build houses in Once Human. Now again, remember, these are all in accordance with the 4 factors we talked about earlier in the video, so I do recommend you keep those in mind when choosing your own location. But what about you guys? Which of those factors is the most important to you, and what locations have you found that are really just perfect to build a house in? I'm curious about what you guys think, so put it in the comments below. For more MMO or Once Human related content, subscribe to my channel below. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.